Welcome to the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast, where our goal is to help you increase your reputation as a leader, increase your ability to influence others, and increase your ability to fully engage your team to deliver remarkable results. Hi, I'm Holley and Maxwell Leadership, facilitator and coach.
And I'm Chris Goede, Executive Vice President with Maxwell Leadership. Welcome and thank you for joining. Today, we're going to talk about questions leaders ask to go to the next level. Now, remember, here at Maxwell Leadership, we talk about leadership or leaders as influential people. And we're going to give you a little bit of a story on how this all came to be. And not all of them are leading something right now. However, they're all leaders. And so we're going to talk about that. So before we get started, though, I want to encourage you to go to maxwellleadership.com/podcast. There, click on this episode, and you can download the learner guide. Or if you're interested in 360-degree leadership training, if it 5 levels of leadership, we have tons of content around competencies that your organization may be struggling with virtually, in person. We also coach to it. Love for you to fill out that form. Let us know. We'll follow back up with you. Well, as I mentioned, there's kind of a story behind this title of questions that leaders ask to go to the next level. And it's really a conversation you and I, we often joke around about the fact, and we just did this on Friday night. We hadn't seen each other in a long time. But we had a 45-minute meeting scheduled. In 40 minutes, we were talking about all kinds of stuff. I said, Perry, the last 5 minutes, I need these things. And you're like, yeah, I need these things. And so we knocked all that out, which means we really could have had a 5-minute meeting.
Yeah, we really take the last 5 minutes to reschedule the next meeting. Then we can talk about the meaningful things we need to talk about.
That's exactly right. So, but when we do that, what we love about it is that we both have children, right? Actually, ironically, one of each.
Yes.
One boy, one girl, 2 kids. And we love sharing the story and the journey on where they're going and how are they intentionally making decisions that probably don't make sense to them, probably a little bit of coaching and from mom and dad and different things. But you look at them and you go, they're intentionally making decisions and actions and what they're doing to take the next step, to move forward. And we share both of those, right, with both kids. Now, I love this you put in here. It's proud dad talk, right? Like that's what it is. Like it is, hashtag, not girl dad. It's like hashtag proud dad.
Yeah.
And I think all of us have been there before, but this is so relevant to even if we take what we're hearing from them, what we're watching them go through, sometimes tough, sometimes good. We want to celebrate in the good. We want to be there for them when it's tough. But we actually can see the parallel in a lot of conversations that we're having with leaders. Remember, influential people inside organizations are leaders inside organizations that we're having the privilege to coach.
Yes, I came up on a coaching call. A very senior leader was dismayed about his junior leaders, and he said they seem to find we're doing good. We're doing good. We're hitting the numbers. We need to just hold with what we're doing. And he said, I asked about, what are you doing to get to the next level? And he said, they don't really seem to think about next level. And I thought it's been one of the critical learnings for myself is that you can get into a feeling of, I'm doing good. We're doing well. Yeah. We're making the number. Why don't we just hold? And that status quo gets very dangerous. And so I had some questions for him. So I thought I just made a little list of questions I would ask.
I love it.
If I'm going to the next level.
I love this. We have this at Maxwell Leadership. We have this phrase we just call +1. And it is something that we put in place to try to make sure we don't get complacent. To your point, it can be a dangerous thing. And we want to lead change. We want to encourage change. We want to get the leaders, we want individuals, the teams to take that next step to be +1. For us here on the podcast, it would be, hey, how do we do something that gets it to one more person that we can impact and add value to? What does that look like? And I think we have that across the board. So let's dive into this because I love this. It's going to drive, what are we intentionally doing as leaders that gets us to +1?
The first question I asked him was, are you setting clear goals and expectations? To me, if you think you've arrived, I was a sales guy for a while, you as well, that if I hit my quota, did I stop? Did I made my number? Did I just hang it up for the year? No, there was always a stretch goal. There was always a next thing. And so what I'm finding, if you're a leader that has not set clear goals and expectations, and if they are making the number, then applying stretch goals and expectations, what's possible, not what did we do, but what's possible that we could do.
Yeah.
I hear Andy Andrews, famous author in my head, he said, people tell me, well, I'm doing the best. We're doing the best we can. Yeah, but are you doing the best that can be done? the answer should always be no. So what's the next level? So
Yeah.
I love this question.
And as you're thinking about it for yourself, and we want you, as we go through this today, there's a couple different perspectives you can have on the conversations. Principles are going to relate either way, whether it's you're looking at this and you're saying, hey, I'm on this journey individually, or maybe you're looking at it as a team and why this will be important. A couple things to respond to what you said. I think it's so important, especially for myself personally, is that I have to do this outside of even my teamwork stuff because it provides focus for me. If not, I will be all over the place. Like, let me do this. Let me help some. And I got to go, okay, wait. That doesn't necessarily align with the goals and the expectations I have for myself to take the next step or for my team to do that. So what's the direction I'm going to go and how do I focus? The other thing is this provides, and this is the hardest because, man, we are the number one sales professional to ourselves. I can talk myself in and out of anything. And I know you're thinking about three things right now that you probably talked yourself out of or into, right? But this really drives my self-accountability. Now, if you can share that with somebody else, great. If you're a team and you can share it with another team inside the organization, great. That's going to help that accountability even more. The other thing is, I think that it inspires me to action. If I know that's what the goal and expectation is, then I'm going to take the next steps to be able to do that, the next steps, and whatever that might look like. And then finally, I wrote down, it's just going to build confidence. Like small wins over time create that next step, the next innovation, the next move. We're going to try to do this. May not make financially sense right now to do this, but I'm going to do that because I think it's going to +1 my skill and I'm going to become a better whatever it is, right? Some of the examples we were sharing. And so I think those things are so important that as you begin thinking about where is it that you want to go as a leader, as an influence, I want to say influencer, that may be taken differently than what we're talking about here, but you've got to have clear goals and expectations.
Question 2 that I asked him was, do you have a collaborative climate where teamwork is encouraged? And the reason I asked this was, I said, what are some of the reasons you're hearing why they stop or they hold back or they don't push forward to the next level, to the next area they can go? And he said, well, they seem to be overwhelmed personally. They seem like they've done enough. It's just hard, or I'm at a good place. And I thought they sound very siloed in their work. And I just wondered, I find for me, if I'm working on a team, if I'm part of a team and we're working towards something, I generally give more. I generally lean in and think more is possible. Yeah. I'm hearing John in my head say 1 is too small a number to do anything. Did you have that?
No. You got that. Say that because that's good. Yeah, 1 is too small a number, right? Like we want to achieve greatness. We want to make an impact, and you can't do that alone,
right?
And so not only are you going to need each other, you're going to need the support, by the way, as you begin thinking about different steps and being intentional. You're going to need people to pick you up. You're going to need people to, slap you on the back. They're going to need to encourage them, but you're going to need them around you. And then what's going to end up happening, to your point, is you're going to be able to accomplish a whole lot more when you have people doing this together. If you're in a silo, you're not going to have diverse perspectives. Your growth mindset, I think, is going to shrink or it'll be limited. Right? Think about some of the conversations we have, even just hanging out, we're like challenging the way that we think. And so it just raises the level of our growth mindset. The other thing too, is I want to encourage you, maybe you say, well, I don't have a direct team, that I got to go find a team, put yourself around, because the more you can expand your network, I think that's going to help you just really become intentional about growing your skill set or whatever it may be that you're trying to improve your leadership on to be able to do that. It's just expand your network of people.
I had a friend, he was a solo entrepreneur. He didn't have a team, but he was finding himself unmotivated. He said, I was just doing enough, and I didn't realize what was even possible. And all of a sudden, he just went into a high gear, started really achieving. And I go, what did you do? He goes, you'll think this is dumb, but I went on LinkedIn and joined a couple of groups, and I just started coming across the conversation about what other people were doing and what could be done, and some other ideas, which got me thinking how I could do. So if you don't have somebody nearby, there's technology that can bring you.
It reminds me of the question John asks after every one of his learning lunches. Who do you know that I should know?
Who do you know that I should know? Yeah.
That right there, when you talk about going to the next level, that question right there will intentionally take you up the ladder. I promise you.
Hey, podcast listeners. Many of you listening right now would probably love the autonomy that comes with owning your own business or becoming a coach that helps other businesses succeed. Well, we have a phenomenal strategy where you are 100% in control of your own business, earning income on your own terms, and have access to the people, tools, and resources you need to build a thriving leadership development business. When you become a Maxwell Leadership Certified team member, you join a global community of entrepreneurs led by our expert team of mentors and faculty, including John C. Maxwell. You'll also get one of the top leadership certifications in the world next to your name, giving you the boost you need to get started. Visit us online at maxwellleadership.com/join the team to find out more.
Question number 3 I asked him was, are you developing your individual team members? Is there professional and personal growth going on? To me, empowered people go forward. They're looking for the next thing. And so one thing we teach around empowering people is that, you probably have modeled what you want from them, but the next really critical steps are equipping and developing. And the one reason I see people stop or slow down or think they've made it is they can't give what they don't have. They're out of gas. And so if you're continuing to grow and develop, it's really how we keep going is that, how do we do a podcast that, I'm learning stuff. You're learning stuff.
Yeah.
We're sharing stuff. And so that going to the next level really is around a lot about how much, you mentioned the word growth mindset. How much are they growing, and do they see that there's something more?
Yeah, I think you have to always challenge that. That's why John says, where he talks about, hey, man, for me, it's not about really a goal, right? It's not about it's a fixed mindset. It's about a growth opportunity, right? Like he said, I can't do a goal setting, conference to save my life. For me, it's all about growth. And then, because how do you know that you're not going to surpass that? And I love that you put this in here, because I think as a team, putting yourself around other people, I think the powerful compounding effect that happens when there's a growth mindset of a group of people. I'll say sometimes life change happens in circles, not rows, right? Like, man, we're sharing, and what's happening is we're just raising and we're compounding what we've learned and our growth journey, and we're sharing it. Now, the second part is a really, really important part. When you're factoring in, let's say it is a current team that you have, or let's say you're building this team, this network, you're going to find yourself, the power and the way to foster a culture of this is to make sure you add the sharing component. One of my favorite things to do when you're facilitating a class of business leaders, men and women, is when you go, hey, what was your number one takeaway from that session right there? Tell me what it is. And I promise you, I've been in hundreds of sessions. I pull out my pad of paper and I start writing them down, because the way that people are hearing it and learning, when they share it back, it sounds differently than how I've heard you teach it over the years. And all of a sudden I've taken my mindset, my perspective, and now to a room of 50 businessmen and women, and it's just raised it up. Well, it's the same thing. Your team, the people you get around, what are you learning? How did you take that out? You could say, it could be something as simple as a book club. Okay, hey, what was your number one takeaway from chapter 1? It's going to be different than mine, and I probably wouldn't have thought about it like that. But once you put context behind why it was so important to you, I'm going to go, oh yeah, that makes total sense. So I just want to encourage you in this process, whether you're part of a team that is organizationally or outside of a team of a network, make sure not only are you learning together and growing, but share. And when you do that, it'll be compounded what you're learning as a team, as people.
Love that. Another question I asked him was, are you providing regular feedback, constructive feedback, and even recognition to the team, that you recognize what they're doing, but also giving them feedback for, I find sometimes people, well, let me be real honest. Sometimes I back off when I think I'm doing pretty darn good. I think I've mastered it. And the truth is, you really haven't mastered it. You just gotten to a certain level. There's always a next level. And so this ability for a leader to give feedback to his leadership team or to anyone on your team to let them know, yes, while you're doing well, you're not there, and none of us are there. But we tend to tell ourselves, like I said, or sell myself on the fact, I'm there. I've got this.
I am it. Here I am.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
To do that. So I think asking this, are you doing the feedback and recognizing their efforts, but giving them feedback on what's left to do?
Listen, we are unaware, okay, of things that we do on a continual basis. We just don't know. We have muscle memory, certain situations, we behave in certain ways, and we're just unaware of this. And why I love this is that we all have blind spots. And we define blind spot is it's on the backside of one of your strengths. It's probably an overused strength. And so you don't naturally even know that it is a blind spot.
Blind spot is right.
Yeah. It's like, that's how I'm gifted, right? Well,
that's why they call it a blind spot.
Like you're unaware that you're using it way too much or using it too strong or whatever. And with that being the case, you got to have that feedback. And so let's say you're on this journey by yourself and you're trying to intentionally move your career along and increase your influence and your leadership to the next level. You've got to get people around you that will give you that feedback. I'll give you a personal example. So Perry has communicated on stages for years, a lot of big stages, lots of people around the world. And so I am much newer in that phase on behalf of Maxwell Leadership. And so I'm like, oh, well, I'm a good communicator. I've sat next to Perry for 350 podcast episodes and talking to a microphone. And so I'm getting opportunities periodically to go and to do keynotes. And so one of the things that I love doing when I can get a video of is I send it to this guy right here. If you're not watching on YouTube, I encourage you to do it. I'm pointing to him because he has done it at a higher level than I and has done it for many, many years. And I'm unaware of body habits, hands. And I'm like, I just killed that thing. Here, Perry, look at this. And so he so kindly would give me feedback, but it's only because he can out of body look at it and as a communicator, because he's done it for so long, so well, go, hey, just being nitpicky here. Here is 27 things I saw in those 5 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. Right. But like you got to get to that point if you want to go to the next level. And for me, it's I want to go to the next level being a communicator. And so find people around you that you can ask for feedback in this situation that'll make you a better leader. That'll lead you to where you want to go, whatever that might look like in your career path.
Yeah, I think flipping that around, I said, are you providing feedback to your team? But you just gave a really great example. If you're not, go ask for it.
Yeah.
And the fact that you came and asked for that feedback says even volumes that I want to grow.
Yeah.
I want to go to the next level. Even though you're a very accomplished speaker, you do a great job, everybody loves you on stage. You said, well, that is a level. I've done well at that level. What's the next level look like? And by asking that question, you put yourself into the top 1% to say, I want to be the best I can be at that. Who can I ask? And we're both doing this all the time, getting feedback.
Hey, can we clarify that? Just because I asked doesn't mean now I'm a top 1% speaker, does it? You mean, oh, I get it, because the top 1% of people that even ask for feedback. Okay, sorry, I got a little bit excited there. I just want to make sure we clarified for our listeners.
You're the top 1% in this room right now.
That's not even true.
Okay. Last question I asked the guy I was coaching I said, are you encouraging innovation and creativity? And this was a nice way of asking, are you asking your team to think like change agents, to embrace critical thinking, to question their assumptions, to explore new ideas? Are there other ways of getting things done? Are there other ways we could be doing this that would open more doors of opportunity? Yeah. We do this all the time. We're all the time saying, how are we speaking to people? Who do I need to talk to? Where can I go next? We met our quota for leads this month. We don't ever say that. Yeah. We're always looking for who we can touch to do that. So are you encouraging them to think outside the box?
Yeah. We don't want to become, as I wrap up for us today, we don't want to become irrelevant. And the quickest way to do that is become complacent and not get to a point where we're not encouraging our team to be innovative and to do things differently. And so you and I just recently, we were on the road and I said, hey, on the car ride to the airport, like, let's talk about what do we need to do different? Yeah. We love our team. We're doing a great job. The team's doing a great job. We're impacting a lot of people, but we need to do it differently.
Like,
what are we doing? How do we press the accelerator? What's going on? And I think that goes back to, as a leader or as an individual, being open to continuous improvement, which funny, it just ties that into growth. Mm-hmm. So do you view change in this question number 5 here in the innovation and creativity? Do you view it as a disruption, which a lot of people say, I'm going to go in and disrupt, like that's change? Or do you view it as a growth opportunity? And I think those are two different mindsets that will help you separate the fact that, no, I've got to have a growth mindset. And so I'm okay to innovating on this or doing whatever. We've even talked about the podcast, right? We love the podcast. We love all the listeners, all the comments, all the downloads, but we're like, what do we need to do differently?
Right.
What do we need to change?
Yeah. What's next level?
What does that look like? Right. So I just want to encourage you, whether you're part of an organization or just it's Perry and I in a room talking about our podcast, be asking those questions and try to innovate and clarity. When you do that, you're going to go to the next level.
Fantastic. Well, great input. Thank you. So a reminder, you can go to maxwellleadership.com/podcast. You can learn a lot about our offerings there, our other podcast offerings that we have, as well as leave us a comment or a question. We love hearing from you. So grateful you'd spend this time with us. That's all today from the Maxwell Leadership Executive Podcast.
Are you ready to elevate your leadership to new heights? Join the movement towards High Road Leadership with John C. Maxwell's latest book. In High Road Leadership, John explores the power of valuing all people, doing the right things for the right reasons, and placing others above personal agendas. Learn how to inspire positive change and bring people together in a world that divides. Order now and receive exclusive bonuses, including a keynote on High Road Leadership by John Maxwell himself and a sneak peek into 3 impactful chapters. Take the first step towards becoming a High Road leader. Visit highroadleadershipbook.com to order your copy today.